Yeah, no, I think he's adorable, but I've never seen him do improv until last night.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I thought that the show overall actually went really well. For a level 1 show, I was like, this was really funny. Like, it was funny in general, and then, like, to think that it was level 1 was like...
Yeah, I was kind of reverse engineering it. I'm like, moon, I could have gone in singing, like, spinning a pizza and singing, when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie. And, his debrief at the end was like, don't overthink it. Mm-hmm. And it's this ephemeral thing that happens and goes away.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is you can't, like, ruminate on that scene because it's gone. It's gone. It happened.
It's completely gone.
There's nothing to be done. And
it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I love improv shows. They're so fun. I had a great time. They're so fun.
I'm looking forward to the next one.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Zoey Adventuress Show. I am here with Amy.
Hello.
Amy, would you like to introduce yourself?
I know Zoey by way of a trivia game I used to host at a local bar. And we got to talking, and then she ultimately became a host. Then we kind of became friends. Then you were talking about improv, and I had been thinking about improv, and now I'm doing improv.
Now she does improv.
Look at that!
Look at that! Do you remember the night we met?
Obviously you do.
I do. It's funny. It was a fun... Like, the whole story was just funny.
Oh, because it was the girls who like to hike?
It was. What I remember happening is we had finished the game, and obviously we had met during the game, but, like, actually meeting was after, because you were walking around looking for a new scorekeeper.
Oh, yeah.
And literally she was just walking around saying, like, anyone...
Do you know anyone who knows a scorekeeper?
Do you guys... Anyone interested in
It doesn't pay very well, but you could have a drink.
And I was several beers deep, and I was like, me? And I didn't even know what you asked. I was just like, I do. I want to be your scorekeeper. And then you're like, yeah, so this is the gig, and blah, 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 and just gave me your number on a piece of paper.
Oh.
And so then I was like, okay, cool, and went on with my night, whatever, left, totally lost the paper. And I was... So
my phone number's floating around somewhere?
No, hang on.
In the world?
It was a couple days later, and I was like, I actually do want to do that. Where is that paper? And so I was looking everywhere for it, couldn't find it, and then I found it. And I was like, yes! And so then I texted you, started being your scorekeeper, and then it was just like a funny development of a relationship.
Yeah.
Because then we worked together on Tuesdays. Yeah. I covered for you that one time.
I loved having you work with me on Tuesdays. It was so much fun.
It was so much fun.
I've since retired trivia. I'd been doing it for 5 years, and it was just time. I wanted to make space in my life for something else to happen, and I wasn't really sure what that was going to be. And then as it turns out, it was improv.
Improv.
I always used to say, the reason I know the answers is because they're in front of me.
Right.
Very often I don't know what.
I literally always tell people, I'm like, the reason I host trivia is because I'm really bad at trivia. Like,
I love it, but I'm not great at it.
It's super fun, but don't put me on that end of it, because I won't get any answers right.
Yeah.
Completely useless.
And it's good camaraderie, and, I love teams, and,
yeah,
like friendship, and I love the casual bar environment. It's really interesting. I don't know if you've experienced this. So, as a woman, as a lesbian, I have gone to straight bars many a time, because there's more of them than gay bars. Mm-hmm. But if you try to talk to a straight man, he thinks you've got an ulterior motive. Because I think when straight men talk to women at bars, they have an ulterior motive. Mm-hmm. And really, I'm just looking for an interesting conversation. And I've been snubbed many a time by a guy at a bar. Like, oh, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not interested in you. Right. Well, I'm not interested in you either, bub. I'm just looking for a conversation. Have you encountered that?
Yeah. I've actually also encountered that. I think being somebody who presents the way that I do, and it's very clear that I like women, I have that experience with women a lot more, actually, than men, with straight women. Because I present the way I do. If I try to talk to a straight woman, then I do have that experience where I feel snubbed, and I think it's because they think I'm trying to make a move.
That's interesting. I've never really thought about it that way, because I think that my approach with straight women is, like, we have this sisterhood. A lot of straight women aren't really interested in that sisterhood. But as a feminist, coming from that place, it's like, hey, we're all part of this oppressed female majority. We are 51% of the population.
I know.
And so underpaid, underappreciated, undervalued, overworked,
Yeah.
exploited very often. And I'm just looking for a comrade.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they're not necessarily interested because they're looking for a wallet to attach themselves to. I mean,
Right.
a man. Yeah.
Right. Sometimes I'll catch somebody who just wants to chat, because often I'm like, I just want to
Sure.
chat. But
And I'm not trying to diss straight women. Some
No.
of my best friends are straight women.
Straight women are great.
Straight women are great.
I love straight women.
I have loved some straight women.
Haven't we all?
I've often said that some of my most significant relationships, serious relationships, have been with women who ultimately have ended up with men having children and doing all that.
Same.
I'm glad your pap smear was normal.
Hey, thanks. Me too.
Yeah.
Proud. Normal pap smear.
My mammogram was normal too.
Excellent. Good job.
That's my November thing.
Nice. Something I noticed about stand-up is that you have to get very comfortable telling things. I mean, you don't have to, but a lot of my jokes stem from very personal things, so I'm like, I'm just going to tell people
I think
this.
very personal things can be very funny.
Very funny, because we all have them, we don't talk about them, and that's what makes them funny.
Delightfully taboo.
Yes. Not in a weird way.
Not if it's done well.
Right. I will say that I think part of my comfort, and it's not even that I'm comfortable, it's that I can overcome the fear
Sure.
of speaking in front of people. Because I think that that's a misconception. People feel like,
Oh my god, you're so good at public speaking, you're not nervous.
I'm like, I'm very nervous. It's a matter of overcoming that. But, point
Right.
is, I've had to do a lot of presentations in sign language,
Okay.
and that is so much scarier than speaking,
Okay.
because it's my second language. So
Right,
I'm like
right.
nervous, and then I'm like, I can't sign anymore, and I'm like all awkward. Or at least I feel that way.
Right.
The number of times I've had to do that helps when
Sure.
I'm in front of people and I get to speak English.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I got this. Whatever.
No problem.
Whatever happens, I can do this because I can do that. This show, if people haven't figured out, is an entire spoof of the Ellen DeGeneres Show.
Oh.
Yes.
Adventuress, degenerate. Oh, okay.
Boom. Yeah, I wanted to call it the Zoey Adventuress Show.
Oh, I like that.
I know, it's funny, but my mom was scared that it would attract weird people to the channel, and I was like, that's fair.
Hasn't it already?
Probably. But I was
Is your
like,
mom watching?
Yes.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Love you.
She's inviting degenerates on all the time.
Yeah, so many degenerates.
But I digress. So I was like, well, what else sounds like degenerous but isn't like copyright infringement? The cups are
The Zoey.
loosely based on...
The Zoey Show. Do you have underwear, too? She gives
No,
away underwear.
I wish. I know. I haven't quite got the budget yet for the giveaways that she
So
does.
I wasn't a guest on her show, not like this. I have not elevated to that level there. I was a audience member.
Day after day.
I have been trying to go to see her show since I was 17 years old.
Really? You know
Yeah.
she has a calendar and you
I
can
know.
Okay.
Yeah, I submit to it regularly.
Do you?
I have a calendar reminder every 2 weeks to submit for tickets to her show.
And it's never happened.
Never happened. Me and my mom just want to go see the Ellen DeGeneres Show. That's...
Day after day.
Yeah, it's only been 8 years or...
I think it's been longer than that.
9 years. I'm 26.
Time ticks. Here's the thing. Regardless of our ages, and I won't tell you mine, we're all trying and thriving. And it's day by day.
Totally day by day. Oh my god.
It's kind of sketchy sometimes. What do you think about the possibility of autonomous cars?
Like self-driving?
Yeah, that.
Oh, my friend has a Tesla and I think it's sketch. I just generally feel like the concept that it's safer because machines don't have the human error component. I'm like, okay, except for they have a lot of other error components and they can't actually think.
I was just talking with somebody about this. And I said, well, if a kid is crossing the street and an old man in a wheelchair is crossing the street, you have to divert because something's coming at you. Who, as an individual, as a human, we can maybe make the decision to hit the person, sorry, old man, the old guy who's lived a full life and avoid hitting the kid.
Right.
I think that's a very reasonable decision to make, by the way.
I don't know.
Sorry, old men.
Old men might disagree.
You really have lived your life. Children have not.
Children have not. But I don't know that a vehicle could make that distinction. therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
One of the problems. I think there are more.
Tell me about your pronoun.
My pronoun thoughts. So when I was in college, I had a friend who used to say, he identified as male. He used to say that, like, when I was a little girl, and I said, I sometimes think that when I was a little boy. Mm-hmm. Because when I was a little kid, and I very often, I don't say when I was a little girl. I always say when I was a little kid or when I was a child. Because I don't gender myself as a child. I think that I was this amorphous, genderless person who grew up to be this woman. Mm-hmm. And it took me a while to really embrace my womanness, whatever that means. And my struggle was that I didn't ever like the binary. Mm. I didn't ever like, are you a boy or a girl? Because feminine and masculine are social constructs. Mm-hmm. In my mind, like, girl could be very broad. I'm female, whatever that means. I have a uterus, I have a vulva. I was able to pop out a kid, okay, but I'm a very butch woman. Mm-hmm. I identify as a butch woman. That's not to say that I'm not squishy and soft on the inside, just crunchy on the outside. When the discussion about pronouns started happening, I was like, yeah, I kind of dealt with that a long time ago, but not in the same context.
Right.
At one point in my life, I think I did think about changing my gender identity. But then I was thinking, what does that really do?
Right.
It realigns me with the binary. Personally, for me, I like to be on the masculine side of the female spectrum. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Some people have a problem with that. And it's interesting because I have 2 sons, and I've noticed with a lot of men, and not necessarily my sons, but masculinity is very fragile. Or there's fragility in masculinity. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you think that women have cycles, which we do, we go by the moon, it's not a misnomer to also say that men have cycles. But what I think is missing is the recognition and the acknowledgement societally and globally that men have cyclical emotions. And it's okay. It's really okay. And so I'm in favor of eliminating the binary. Forget the male and the female. Forget are you a boy or a girl? It's like, are you a human?
Right.
Great. We can talk.
Yeah.
Because that's how I operate. I totally respect people's individual determinations. Mm-hmm. To identify or to realign themselves with the gender they feel associated with. I don't want to in any way impose myself on them, but I think that as a society we need to broaden our definitions. And that way, when a kid comes to a parent and says, I don't feel like a girl, it's not all of a sudden that we have to jump to defining them as a boy.
Right.
We need to give people the latitude and the flexibility to define their identity as they see fit and not feel constrained by these societal norms. I think we don't do our kids a good service by forcing gender on them.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think it's super interesting, first of all. I think that I say when I was little. I never realized that I don't gender myself young either. But
I don't gender,
I always think about when I was, I'm like, when I was little, blah, blah, blah. So my gender pronoun thing came much after my other identity development.
Right.
I don't really feel connected to any pronouns. I feel like I am me and that's who I am.
Right. Well, it's really funny because when I was hosting trivia, let's go back to that.
Okay.
When I was hosting trivia, I actually subbed in as a scorekeeper for somebody.
Okay.
He was like,
Hey, young lady.
and I was like, I'm older than you. And he said,
Yeah, but I call all women young lady and all men sir.
and I was like, then call me sir. Because honestly, I hear that with more respect.
Yeah, way more respect.
Way more respect.
Ooh.
Because young lady is this diminutive approach, right? Whereas sir, it's like, I almost think he should be saluting me. Young lady.
That's like degrading.
Felt really degrading. Yeah, if you feel the need to gender somebody, Gender me to the masculine. It's fine.
That's totally fine. Don't call me
It's
young
totally
lady.
fine. Please don't call me young
Or
lady.
little girl.
No.
Ugh.
I might
No.
hate you. I might hate you. I'm a big advocate of the non-binary, but if you are identifying as a binary entity, I'm all for that as well. Like, you do you, and I will be your supporter, your ally, to the extent that you need and want one. I like that these conversations are happening. It's about time.
Yeah, I think so too. I
do.
Get it out there.
Yeah, and it is. It's ever evolving. And I had taken a women's studies class back in college. One of the things that I remember the professor saying is, as society becomes more advanced, we will embrace and accept identities more broadly. And I think that that's true. I'd like to think that we're becoming more advanced.
Yeah, me too. So, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks so much.
As a thank you, I have a parting gift for you.
All right.
This is my thing.
Oh, thank you.
I'm actually going to have a cookie with you.
All right.
I had one earlier today, but I feel like it's time.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, Amy. Like, share, don't like, don't share. Actually, don't like it, because that's just actively mean. Like it or leave it. That's fine. Thanks for being here, though. Thanks for watching again. If you're still watching, kudos to you. And thanks. Bye.
Bye.